Getting wet during sex makes penetration easy, okay? It makes sex more sweet. It makes it more pleasurable, okay? But have you ever wondered, what made you wet? You were dry, and then after hearing some sweet words, after being touched at certain places, the next thing you realize, waffle. In fact, sometimes, you can just watch certain videos, read certain messages, and the next thing you realize, Charlie, waffle. Have you ever actually wondered, say, who poured the water there in the first place? You were dry, so what happened? Well, we have two sweethearts to thank for this interesting thing. Now, let me introduce you to battling gland and skinny glands. Yeah, so that's the battling glands you're looking at. They are like two pea-shaped glands and found at each side of the vagina opening. Is it natural? The vagina is supposed to be moist. We'll talk about the vagina, and so we will talk about all these things. Naturally, a vagina is supposed to be moist. So the battling glands during sexual excitement also releases some fluid that makes the vagina more wet, more moist, more lubricated, so that penetration will be very easy. Okay, so that's the job of the battling glands. Now the second one is the skinny glands. If you've not watched my clitoris video, probably after this video you should do your very best to watch it, because I spoke about the fact that during sexual excitement there is increased blood flow to our vagina and the vulva. So when there is this increased blood flow to that place, the skinny glands also sort of swells up, and then it ends up, the swelling stimulates the skinny glands to release certain fluid that also helps to lubricate our vagina to make sex very okay for us. Okay, now another thing that the skinny glands actually does is, according to scientists, the skinny gland is able to produce or release certain whitish milkish substance or fluid during orgasm. That is, when a woman is able to orgasm, some release or some sort of ejaculate. So this ejaculation is sort of milkish in color, and they believe that this is because of the skinny glands. The skinny gland is responsible for this ejaculation. Now they believe that this ejaculation is quite similar to the male semen or the male ejaculation, because there are certain properties in the female ejaculation that are also found in the male ejaculation. So they believe that a woman can actually also ejaculate, but it's still quite debatable. So the being wet is as a result of the battling gland and the skinny glands. These two glands are responsible for making women get wet and make sex more pleasurable. Now, the reason why you actually need to get wet during sex is because, imagine trying to put this pencil into the sharpener and it's not going. So you're basically forcing it, and like, yeah, that's disgusting, and then you force it. Okay, so now it's gone. It has entered. Hooray. Now the problem is you actually force this penis to enter into the vagina when it's very dry. So at the end of the day, you're going to get some cuts, you're going to get some bruises down there. And now once you have these bruises, it's going to be easy for you to get certain infections. So that's why you need to be wet, so that penetration will be so easy. It makes it so easy, so that sex will not be like you are enduring something. You're supposed to enjoy it. That's why you need to be wet enough. Okay, now there are some women who are not able to lubricate, or they can't get wet enough during sex or during sexual excitement, and there are several reasons that that can cause this. Probably we're going to take it as a topic and discuss it another day, but let me talk about maybe one or two. Now, number one is age. Charlie, the age you get close to your menopause, and a lot of things change. An example is your estrogen level will reduce. So the battling gland, the skinny gland, they can't produce enough fluid to lubricate your vagina. So as you're aging and getting closer to your menopause, your vagina is mostly dry, so it makes penetration quite difficult for you. Okay, another thing is stress. Charlie, me say Ghana shit, we are saying shit, Charlie, but if you don't take care, this Ghana shit, what's the one now? Or dream watching Sika all day shit. But if you don't take care, you get into the bedroom, your partner tries touching you and you can't get wet. Your partner may actually think they don't find him attractive enough, but maybe that's not even the case. The thing is you are stressed. So during the game, for stress and put under your pillow. Once you are done with the game, go back and take the stress, okay? So that the place can be wet enough, so that you enjoy it. You will not have to endure it. Please. Okay, so there are other reasons why that can make a woman not get wet enough, and as I said, we will talk about these things later on. Okay, now you should know that you can actually be wet even though you are not aroused. Yeah, let me explain it to you. Example, today you're not in the mood for sex. What bread? and then but your partner, or dad or cancer, they go assume no, the son he wants it. He's not forcing you. Forcing is a different thing. But or cancer, they be the change you and be like, okay, no, okay, fine, let's do it. You may not, you're not really, aroused. You're not really in the mood for sex, but like you just want to do it. Even that can actually make you wet, because Charlie is your partner. He knows the places to touch, so he's touching all these right places, and then your body will respond to it, so you may actually get wet. So you may not necessarily be in the mood for sex, but the mere fact that you're still doing it, you can still get wet. So that goes also to explain one thing, that if you were a rape victim, okay, probably the guy forced to have sex with you and you ended up getting wet during the process. Now this guy would tell you, say, you said that I forced you, but how come you got wet? And then you end up feeling bad. Charlie, let the guy know, say, once you do not verbally agree to the sex, it is still rape. The fact that you got wet does not mean, say, you have consented to the rape. Getting wet is a physiological response. So the body responded by getting wet. So it does not mean that you have agreed to the sex. It just happened. It's nature. And so you're not, don't feel bad. Don't blame yourself that you got wet, so meaning you liked it. You didn't like it. It was rape. Okay, good. Another thing is, your message be, you end up reading this voice note from your partner. Hey, the voice that this guy is telling you. Hey. The next thing you realize, no, you are wet. Or probably you just got a message, you open it, and it's a very erotic video, a very erotic message be, and then by the time you realize you are wet, some people actually end up feeling so embarrassed. Or find say why you're born, because no one for. Charlie, it's very natural. It's normal to actually get wet when you hear some of these words or you watch some of these erotic videos. It's very normal to get wet. Charlie, if you watch these things or you get this message from your partner, now even if you don't get wet or you don't get any sensation in your body, you are wood. Why? You have to feel something, eh? So don't feel ashamed when you get wet, when you see some of these erotic videos or stuff like this. The thing is, if you get wet, you'll be okay. Unless, of course, after getting wet, it's also baby fight. That one, then I say, wow, now tired that. Other than that, it's very normal to see these things and get wet. Okay, now. We have some women, they can get very, very wet. Just say, and some of them feel bad. Their partners make them feel bad. Say, as soon as I touch you small, you get so wet. If you don't like it, don't stress the lady. Okay, it's very normal for some ladies to feel very wet, and this is because sometimes some of these ladies, their estrogen level is a bit high. Estrogen is a hormone, and some women have it a bit higher than other ladies. So during this sexual excitement, theirs makes them a bit more wet as compared to other ladies. There's nothing wrong with it. Okay, and sometimes you see our menstrual cycle is a phase. It's a whole cycle. So it gets to a part of the cycle, your vagina is naturally more moist or more wet. So coupled with sexual arousal, it makes the place more wet. There's nothing wrong with you. It's very normal. Unless, of course, with you, when you get very wet, it smells harsh. That one, please go to the hospital, I beg you. Or, it comes with different colors. Black worm, yellow worm, green worm. Sister, go to the hospital. Why are you still staying in the house? Go to the hospital. But if that's not the case, anywhere, since you became sexually active, that's how you've always been like. You always lubricate or you get extra wet. Please don't let anybody make you think there's something wrong with you, okay? Another thing is, like, you are sitting down thinking about the economy, thinking about all the things that you could have done if you had money. And then the next thing you realize, you are wet. That is, you were not in the mood. You were not hearing any sweet words. What's the problem? Your pants is very wet. You have to go to the hospital to check if probably there's something going on, okay? Other than that, if you get very wet during sexual intercourse, it is very normal. So don't let this pressure you to go and buy certain medications. There are certain products they tell you, so when you take this product, if you are very wet, it will reduce it for you. At the end of the day, it will make you so dry that now sex will not become even interesting again. Aside that, it can even end up changing the pH of your vagina. And so by that happening, you are welcoming all sorts of infections and all sorts of bacteria down there. And then you end up with so many, please, sister, not then. Again, probably you're the type that don't get very wet and you're worried about it. Go to the hospital. Don't go and take these concoctions and be inserting all sorts of things down there. Women, we end up doing these things and then we end up causing problems to our reproductive organs. So please, if you have any problem, you can't lubricate enough, you're too wet and you don't feel comfortable about it, go and seek medical help. from professionals, okay? Don't just go anywhere and then get some medications and end up causing more problems to yourself. Go, see, that's the problem with Ghanaian ladies, where we have a lot of sex problems, but yeah, can I share you? Need to talk to you, maybe they share you, your baby, a say, go to the hospital, look in the doctor's eyes. Doctor, when my husband touches me, I don't feel anything. No, Charlie, the place doesn't get wet. The doctor will not judge you. I mean, that's his job. That's why he's there. So he's not going to judge you, okay? So please, let's take care of ourselves and not end up with all sorts of things down there. So I hope today you've learned something. I hope today you've learned that it's very necessary to get wet. Make sex very easy and penetration more comfortable, okay? So I hope you've learned something, and if you have any problem of this sort, please go to the hospital, or better, you can even email me. Let's talk about why you're having some of these issues. Sometimes it's just the mind. You have to just psych your mind and you're good to go. Next week we will be talking about the vagina. Sorry, the vagina is very broad, so we're going to have it in series so that we understand it better. Until next week, Charlie, be safe. Don't do anything I wouldn't do, because I'm very good, I tell you. So take care. Bye.